The Caseking Christmas Cup goes into the second day, and we start with a round of 8 with our first match, Protoss versus Zerg. Up to the top right, it is San starting here in blue on Overgrowth, our first map in the best of 3 series. And down to the bottom left with the barcode ID, we have a JaeDong. So the Dong himself, Todd already mentioning yesterday that all he wants for Christmas is a Dong. He gets a chance to at least see this guy advance to the semis. But first of all, JaeDong has to take down San, who's kind of notorious for being an extremely good Protoss versus Zerg player. But as Todd already hinted before we started the game, lately San apparently not all that great in this matchup.
I mean, it's still pretty good. The thing is, he's finally been cracked, and he's been cracked by life himself. It all started in the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose Asia Finals. Life beat San 2-0. They met again at BlizzCon, 3-0 for Life. They met again in DreamHack Winter, 2-0 for Life. So that's 7-0. Yes, I just did math on stream successfully. 7-0 for Life against San recently. So all those VODs are out there. JaeDong, he knew he had to play San. You talked about it yesterday, about how players, they have at least a little bit of time to prepare for their match. They don't have to play directly after they play one match or another. So surely he's done his homework, and he's going to want to look to maybe do the same as Life.
Yeah, that's actually like a really good point, that he was in a position to really prepare for this. Those players were the first ones to play yesterday, so if you think about it, they had roughly 24 hours to prepare for their opponent, and I'm pretty sure that San did exactly that as well as JaeDong, and with the material that is out there, JaeDong might have the upper hand there. So for now, we're having actually a hatch first for JaeDong going up against San, and that's not the only thing. He actually moves cross map, or not with the Overlords, but another drone is already headed towards the third base, so without any particular scouting information, we see him go straight into a double hatch before a pool against San.
Yeah, this is typical JaeDong here. He's been using this for quite a while, and always done fairly well with it. Now he knows that up against San, even before the game starts, he knows that the most likely thing he's going to be playing against is a 1-gate expand into 4-gate pressure, and a lot of the time that goes with the Immortal Push that follows it up. The first step of this is defending successfully the 4-gate pressure, which sometimes is a bit more of an all-in than the pressure out of San. The thing is, it's very, very hard to counter it perfectly. Like, there is so many variants that San can go for. Sometimes he can warp in sentries, rather than only Zealots, and then as Zerg you have a choice. You can go for full Queen and Zerglings without speed and some spine, or you can try to go for the gas, and in this game JaeDong is gonna play gas less early on.
What do you think are the chances of a player like San actually rolls the dice in a game like this and then starts with a Forge right off the bat and starts canning? Does JaeDong have a chance defending against that, or is San then in a position where he can at least take down one of the bases?
Yeah, I think San will have a good chance, especially since it will come as a surprise, but JaeDong, he's one of those players that he has that, you know, that spark of like the stars that
the genius.
Play the best under pressure and react quickly and properly to stuff. So I think he will pull his drones and at least give San a run for his money in terms of not letting him cannon too easily. So it will be very risky for San to do this, and I fully understand him not wanting to take that risk and playing a little bit more standard.
San is now going for those extra 3 gates that you already talked about, where we have him then with 3-gate pressure that he can throw, especially against the third base of his opponent. Right now out on the map is the Mothership core together with the Zealot. The probe has not been spotted by JaeDong and places down a pylon so that he can use it for the warp-ins. But the Zerglings getting into the main base, at least the natural of San for now. The force field a bit too late. It looks like the sentry is at least going to survive, but we still have like 1 probe down. He could potentially even take down another one if he runs in with the rest of the Lings, but he decides to move back for now and chases down. Oh, he tries to go for the sentry here, and with him already eliminating like 2 of the sentries, he could take down a bit more than that. So
this is great for JaeDong right now. Yeah. What better way to copy live than getting Zerglings in, man?
Yeah, it worked really well for Life yesterday when he was playing against First. But yeah, so far only 2 probes killed, but of course it's not only the probes that you kill, it's also just like those small, those few seconds that you lose in mining time, then you disrupt your opponent's flow in the game as well, and especially when it hinges on the timing, then that's extremely valuable to you. So now San attacking a bit later than he usually would, and we have the Zerglings already there, with the triple queen starting to defend, and the total queen count of JaeDong is at 5, so he still has 2 in the back for the injects.
You must not chase here with the queens. JaeDong, I really like his position right now. In terms of drones, he's in a great position. He's got 36 against 31. He's got 7 more about to hatch. Speed only starts now, but he has enough queens and Zerglings that he should be fine against aggression. if he keeps on adding a few Zerglings at a time, see he's starting 6 now, if he stopped completely, he will be in trouble.
They're losing
And
one of the
whoa.
overlords though, so he's supply blocked for now, but he still has a lot of Zerglings in the pipeline, so he can at least use those. The speed upgrade won't finish for quite a few seconds, but he has that queen count, a 4th queen now already down at the 3rd base. Now he can start pushing the Stalkers back, and of course always the Zerglings to act as a buffer between the queens and the rest of the Gateway army.
Sen is still making probes continuously in the meantime, but he's got a lot of armies. Actually reacting a little bit late here. One of the Stalkers might die. Why is JaeDong stepping off creep so far? Now he might get chased down and lose his queens. The time warp goes down.
Oh wow, the time warp of course nearly putting those queens to a total halt, and 2 are already dead. A 3rd one might die as the Zealots are moving in. Queen gets blocked, gets taken out, 3 queens down, and that was a huge blow to JaeDong's defense. Losing 4 or 3 queens like that is just a gigantic problem for him now. More Zealots moving in, the Stalkers already sniping 1 Zergling at a time and going for the drones as well. JaeDong is dropping in supply and he's dropping fast, and San is just still there with the Mothership Core with the rest of the Stalkers pushing that entire Zerg army to the wall, and there is nothing that JaeDong can do right now. He's not able to save those 2 queens. He loses both of them, loses a fair bunch of Zerglings as well, and this 3rd base is more or less forfeit. The Zerg player definitely with no chance of holding that. If he he might be able to still come back in that game, but right now he's at a massive disadvantage.
This is typical San, you know, really committing a lot to this 4-gate aggression. And I mean, he's hoping that the Zerg will make a mistake here and there and underestimate the attack. JaeDong was in a great position, and I fully understand his choice to start making a few drones here and there, but this time he should have been more patient. He should have sat back with the queens, and he didn't. He moved off creep, he lost his queens, and then from there it only goes downhill. You underestimate this strat, you make one single mistake, you're gonna lose to it, and this is what's happening here once again.
Yeah, he's losing the queens now again, the few queens that he still had back at home. He only has 1, so Larva is going to become a massive problem for him, especially since he's relying on Zerglings, which are very, very Larva heavy. It's not like we're talking Roaches or Hydralisk at this point. So San currently at 67 supply against 41. He still has his own natural. The Harvester count is massively in favor of San now at 43 versus 22. So the entire economy of JaeDong has taken a huge hit in that last fight, and by now the income of JaeDong is extremely low. Him coming back into this game would need a small miracle for sure.
Yeah, a Christmas miracle, here we go again.
Yeah, and actually like San, it does not even give him that chance. He just puts down 3 additional gateways, gets the Warp Prism as well, and wants to go for the finishing blow.
Yeah, JaeDong, he lost way too many drones now. He's just down to 22 to 43, GG. And San, pretty nice game here out of him, but JaeDong a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, JaeDong overextending a bit with the defense and gets taken out. San sees an opportunity, some blood in the water, and moves in, takes JaeDong down on map number 1. And we're of course going into the 2nd game now to find out if the Dong can come back in this best of 3 series. Starting on Foxtrot Labs to the top left here at the Caseking Christmas Cup, we have JaeDong using a barcode ID going up against his Protoss opponent, spawning to the bottom right. It's a Zerg versus Protoss with San spawning to the bottom right here. He was able to take the lead on Overgrowth, winning that first map, just having that 4-gate pressure up against the 3rd base, and JaeDong overextending a bit, moving off creep with the queens, getting time warped, losing 3 or 4 queens, and then not having enough to really defend against his opponent's push. I'm Kaldor, with me is Todd, and we're going to bring you the coverage of game number 2 here in the best of 3 series in the quarterfinals of the Caseking Christmas Cup. And let's find out if JaeDong can come back into the best of 3 and force a 3rd game, or if San closes the series out with a 2-0 and advances to the semifinals.
Okay, first of all, how the hell did Foxtrot make it to this 3-map stack? It's supposed to be one of the first vetoes. And then, if you look at that pylon, it reminds me of the pylon that you would go for on like Zelnaga Caverns, or like these maps where it's very, very hard to wall. And it's for a fort, right?
Probably. I mean, Metropolis comes to mind as well, or Metalopolis.
Yeah. Yeah, it's similar. You know, you have a wide space around the ramp and your nexus, and then you wall from your ramp to your nexus rather than going, you know, the long way where you can get all in a lot more easily. So now, San, he's doing what you talked about last game.
Yeah.
He wants to go for a forge and try for some cannon rushing.
And you know, like, he dodged overload number 1, or did he? I'm pretty sure that he just,
Yeah,
like,
he did.
skirted around the edges of the vision, so now he's moving into the natural. The second overload, of course, spots him, but so far we don't have a spawning pool by JaeDong. The probe gets in, has been spotted, the first pylon already placed down, and JaeDong would be well advised to send a few drones down to the natural. He already has one there to block the spots, but there's pylon number 2 already, and this is starting to look a bit iffy for JaeDong. Here comes another pylon, he blocks it off completely. JaeDong pulling the drones now, moving them down to the bottom, and here comes the cannon, gets one cannon, moves out with a nice move on the probe here, and starts to take another cannon into position probably. The pylon's being attacked, but this is looking very unlikely for JaeDong to be able to prevent cannon number 1 to finish.
Yeah, San even traps some drones inside with the second one that he starts. I really don't see JaeDong holding this. I mean, and he's committing so much to the defense that if this goes up, I think it's game.
Yeah, but now he actually has only 3 harvesters mining. That's all that he has in the main base. There's the cancel on the hatch. The cannon is already there, so he just retreats once again. Of course, there are a few resources lost since he had to cancel those buildings, but still, like, forcing the cancel on the hatch is just huge. And for San, absolutely great. You were mentioning already, Todd, the time that he committed to this, the mining time that he lost with all those drones down there at the natural. He prevented the worst for now, but still, he's in a really tough spot.
Can San make a gate on the right of his forge? Oh, yeah, he can. Okay, so there's going to be a good wall here. Like, completely defended. If he thinks he could get all in, he could even make another cannon just below his nexus. And San is in a great position. He delays the gold as well. Like, JaeDong doesn't seem to want to all in either because it's just so obvious. It's easy to scout as well.
Yeah, this is getting extremely tricky now for JaeDong. I mean, his own expansion delayed for so long. He starts his hatch at the gold expansion where we have Sun's own nexus already halfway completed. With the cannon that we have down at the ramp of Sun's main base now, there's also no chance of really attacking with just a few zerglings and doing damage with those. So Sun is just like trying to follow this up. He still has 2 probes on the map. He has both probes near that cannon at the natural of JaeDong so that he can just sneak into his opponent's main base, get an idea of what's happening. The Queen is preventing that for now, but this is of course a very annoying situation for JaeDong. That third is so far away from the main base that it's extremely difficult to defend that as well. I love, by the way, the queens that walk on the edge here and start to attack from the top.
They're living on edge, man.
Yeah, they definitely do, literally. I mean, right now they can take that cannon down, and that even didn't even cross my mind when I saw the placement of the cannon. But yeah, JaeDong just walks up to that edge, takes, of course, with the high ground. No vision for San, takes the cannon down, and now he can place down another hatch if he wants to.
And you know, San basically being put in the situation where he had opened with a forge first. This feels a little bit old school, you know, when Protoss used to open forge first every single game. And now he's just going to adjust his play to that. He starts a +1. I wouldn't be surprised to see him follow it up with something like a few gateways, maybe a pressure zealot +1. I don't think it's going to be a Stargate, because usually you will start that earlier than the +1, or like you will save some gas for it, whereas now he's getting a sentry. So most likely some gates and a robo, maybe for a War Prism, maybe for Immortals and an attack.
Yeah. I mean, what you just talked about was one of the big problems that we had, especially at the end of Wings of Liberty. Protoss being forced in starting with the Forge first because they couldn't defend with the gateway opening, and then just like this massive time frame that Zerg had to put up 3 bases, drone up like crazy, because they knew exactly the timings of a potential attack. Now in Heart of the Swarm, at least what Protoss can do is start with the gateway again, since we have the Mothership Core, and then get the warp in a lot earlier, and therefore there's a lot potential pressure that a Protoss can execute against a Zerg player, so you can't just like drone up in the early stages as much anymore. But this is very much that game that we had at the end of Wings of Liberty, where it's just like such a long delay on the research and on the tech that we have for the Protoss, that JaeDong at least knows that for now he's safe.
I'm pretty sure we're going to see something like an Immortal push after the initial 4 gates pressure, Kaldor, because against the gold base you don't want to wait for too long not doing anything. You need to at least pressure, you know, force some units out of your opponents, which sometimes can play right into your opponent's hand. But no, we see a Twilight Council start, so maybe something like a Blink +2. I really doubt that San wants to go for a third base, and oh, by the way, he's moving out with very few units. He's going to be caught here by some Zerglings. JaeDong, he knows that. Oh, he goes for the gold base.
Yep, goes for the gold base, throws down the Nexus, and JaeDong has already seen it. What do you think from JaeDong's perspective now, what he should do there? And do you think that it's a smart move what San does right now?
Yeah, I think so, because...
Oh, the sentry's actually being caught!
Yeah,
Wow,
this is
just
bad.
running straight into the Lings and all three of them dying here, and that of course forces a cancel on that Nexus as well. Yep, there's the cancel, takes down the probe and kills the pylon too. Well, that backfired.
Yeah, I feel like against the gold base, you need to either play really offensive or really defensive. And in this case, San wanted to play very defensive, but he was too greedy. He started that base with no units. He didn't warp in anything for the longest time. I think he might have been supply blocked maybe here for a little bit, because he wasn't even warping Zealots. He had +1 against 0-0 links. So he would have butchered them if they had come.
What do you think, like, if you would have to evaluate the situation that we have right now? JaeDong at the beginning losing the natural and really having a lot of trouble, but now being the aggressor. What's San's position in this game? How would you judge
I like
that?
JaeDong's position, but San right now, he's probably thinking that he wants to all in with Mass Blink Stalkers and 7 gates. And this, what JaeDong's doing might play right into his hand, because he's attacking with roaches, no speed. He's gonna get some of them force fielded and killed. And behind this, okay, JaeDong doesn't lose too much actually. If he had lost too much, I think the counter attack would have just killed him. But now San might be reconsidering whether he wants to all in or not, because I see he's still making probes.
Yeah.
Like if you want to all in, you cut at 40 something. Now he's at 51 already.
Yeah, and San actually, of course, now being put in his place a bit. Like, he's very reluctant to do too much here, I feel. As you already said, like, he's droning up again. We have him just, like, moving towards that third base once more, trying to claim the gold. But it definitely gives JaeDong a lot of time to just, like, not only build up his own drone count, but making sure that he has the tech as well. He goes straight into the burrow upgrade. We have him with a +1 armor, which is, of course, going to work extremely well against the Zealots too. On the other hand, the +2 attack upgrade is nearly done, so that +1 armor for the Zerglings at least is not going to be relevant to the point where he can research the second upgrade. We have the speed for the roaches coming into play, and JaeDong is really working on that creep spread as well to make sure that he sees the Protoss coming and that he has that speed advantage too.
Yeah, and San just retaking the gold base here. I'm not sure if I like that. Like, I feel like since there is only roaches and Zerglings against him, even though the creep spread is good, if he put himself in a good position where he could prevent the gold base from mining of JaeDong, he could have done quite a bit of damage and then take a third base himself. But now, he's gonna play, I guess, fairly defensive supposedly, even though he's moving out. That's a little bit surprising. Like, if you take a third base, you don't have to attack like that. You're exposing yourself to a massive flank, but I guess he has the recall available. It's really going to be for JaeDong to prepare a massive flank and to go for it here.
Well, here he comes with a flank. The force fields are good though, and the roaches are starting to move in. That blink upgrade and the +2 attack is already done. The force field's not gone just yet, and a fair amount of roaches is being trapped by San's force fields here. He's doing a lot of work, having a decent position, and that recall energy is still available on the mothership core. The queen is already moving in, trying to push the mothership core in a really bad spot, but the stalker's blinking again, and San suddenly doing so much work here, going in, taking down roach after roach. The queen is gone. The mothership core not under enough pressure to really force a recall here, and it doesn't even go for that. We have the mothership core not with the energy any longer, and San doesn't seem to really need it. The army supply alone is nearly twice what we have for JaeDong. For San, he takes down that third base, and just like that, JaeDong is on the ropes once again.
Yeah, he messed up big time with the fight. He came in from the left-hand side and the middle, between that little edge that there is, and yeah, the units got trapped, they got force fielded. A lot of roaches weren't attacking, and then San's blink and force field with the Guardian Shield just was enough to basically crush this army, which was again only roach and link.
And there's the GG, the +2 attack upgrade, of course, doing quite some work in that fight as well. And San takes down JaeDong with the 2-0, making it look easy. And we've just been earlier talking about the track record that this guy has against Zerg, disregarding maybe those games against Live. Todd already mentioning that he, in the last 7 maps, didn't win a single one against Live. But apparently, against the rest of the Zerg world out there, his track record still holds on. So we have San taking that series with a 2-0 in the quarterfinal of the Caseking Christmas Cup, advancing as the first player today to the semifinals.